Tennis, Djokovic, and feminism. A lesson in how social justice warriors are ruining sports and don't understand how arguments work. Hey guys, Satan here. I just wanted to let's talk about things. Can we talk about our feelings here? Maybe, kinda. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I was at a lunch with my parents. We were visiting one of my favorite restaurants, and my dad brought up this comment about how some guy was saying that women need to bow down to men in sports or something like that. So I did a little research, and I found out kind of what was going on. And I came across this article from SB Nation. It's done by Bill Connolly. Hi, Bill. And it was entitled, Tennis's Men Can't Stop Saying Dumb Things About the WTA and Women's Tennis. So there's a couple things that he talks about. That apparently there's a guy who runs like some organization said something that, women need to be thankful to men for the fact that, people like Federer and Nadal and helped make tennis famous, and that women should be thankful because women's tennis wasn't as famous and wouldn't have been as famous if it weren't for them bringing people to everything. Is he right? I don't know. I don't follow tennis enough. But what I do know is that in a lot of areas, men's sports are more popular than women's sports, and sometimes women's sports can benefit from the fact that men's sports is more popular. He writes, Bill writes, just last week, The Telegraph's Jonathan Liu wrote a beautiful piece about gender and opportunity in cricket. Take the main counter-argument to gender equality in sport. And indeed, the first response I received when I tweeted about the aeroplane seats issue, the English women's team flew in economy to India for the World 20 while the men's team flew in business a few days ago. Since men's games generate far more revenue than the women's game, it's only fair that men should be rewarded accordingly. On the face of it, there's a certain logic there. Give more, get more. The problem comes when you follow that logical thread to the end. For instance, should the well-off get preferential treat access to public services, given that they pay more in tax? Should they be able to jump to queue in hospitals? What? What are you talking about? How does economics have anything to do with what you're saying? And why would you even quote this? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It seems to me that you're trying to make this about gender equality and stuff like that when the guy's original comment was about, if you want to be upset that you're saying that women ride the coattails, then talk about the fact that women do really well in sports. And you do kind of mention it a little bit in there, but this quote has absolutely nothing to do, and it's not beautifully written. It's terrible, and it's just dumb, because there's no logic here. There's zero logic. So little logic. I don't even have words for it. Perhaps we could take this a little step further. Given that a millionaire contributes more to the economy than the guy that serves your latte in the morning, should their vote count for more? The point is this. Sexism rarely How is it Sexism rarely gallivants around describing itself as sexism. It disguises itself in innocuous-sounding phrases. Revenue generation, equality of opportunity. How equality of opportunity? How is that sexist? Economic realities, the free market. They are used to keep discrimination in place long after the war for equality has been superficially been won. What? This... No, here's the thing. If you have a guy this works this way in every other area. If you can get the money for it, then you get it. And if you can provide more money, provide a better service, you get more money. That's how it works in capitalism. There's nothing sexist about it. I'm trying to even think of an example where this works. I'm just so blown away by the stupidity of this that I can't even think straight about and give numerous examples. It works that way in business. It works that way with authors and books. Do you want to know who gets a whole lot of money? J.K. Rowling. Do you want to know who doesn't get a whole lot of writing? I don't know. Some random guy. Let me look here. Well, I'm looking at a bookcase across the street. Ted Dekker. Ted Dekker's a great writer. I would argue he's significantly better than J.K. Rowling. Do you know why Ted Dekker doesn't make nearly as much money as J.K. Rowling? Because his books aren't in as much of a demand as J.K. Rowling. You've probably not even heard of Ted Dekker. And that's why. Because he doesn't produce as much money, therefore he doesn't get as much money back. If you've got a sports team, it doesn't matter if it's male or female, and they can bring in 4 times as much as another sports team, well, guess what? The first sports team should be able to get more money, and they should be able to negotiate for more money and then get it. And if there's a prize to be won, and sports team A can bring a whole lot more people than sports team B, then they should get that. What makes this not sexist is the fact that it's a universal law. It's not that, well, women don't get as much money because they're women. No, it's women's sports don't typically bring in as much money as men's sports. And that's why they don't get it. It has nothing to do with sexism and as disguised as equality of opportunity. How is equal opportunity even wrong? Bill Connolly, the writer of this piece, says, Djokovic found himself in a similar verbal trap to Moore's on Sundays. He began to sense that he was digging himself into a hole he dug in further. Quote, equal prize money was the main subject of the tennis world in the last 7-8 years. I have been through that process as well, so I understand how much power and energy WTA and all the advocates for equal prize money have invested in order to reach that. I applaud them for that. I honestly do. They fought for what they deserve, and they got it. So far, so good, Bill writes. Vanilla, but solid.
U Srbiji nova moda, u Srbiji novi trend, a s izloze Đokovića. Milina je kada gazi Federera i Nadala i sve redom meč za mečom, na tome mu mnogo hvala. On je Nole, svi ga vole, on je Nole, svi ga vole, on je Nole, Novak Đoković.
Sorry, I had to. On the other hand, oh no. I think that our men's tennis world, ATP world, should fight for more because the stats are showing that we have much more spectators on the men's tennis matches. I think that's one of the reasons why maybe we should get awarded more. Women should fight for what they think they deserve, and we should fight for what we think we deserve. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. People should fight for what they think they are worth, for what they think they should deserve. So, if men say, you know what, $100 million, this random number, is great, but we're worth $1.5 million. Good. Fight for it, win it, get it. In the same way, if a woman's like, well, right now we're only getting $750 million or $750,000. I think we're worth $1.5 million. Great. Fight for it, get it. Boom, we're done. If they don't think they're worth as much, if for some reason, whatever, they can't get as much because maybe the sponsor doesn't want to pay that much or whatever the case is, well, guess what? You can boycott the event or you can continue to fight for it. There's nothing wrong. This is like, boom, if you want it, you come and get it. And so Bill writes, over the course of a paragraph, women went from fighting for what they deserve to fighting for what they think they deserve. The problem with your comment, Bill, is that it's not... He mentions that men should fight for what they deserve as well. I'll put it right here. Men's tennis world should fight for more because stats are showing we have much more spectators. Women should fight for what they think they deserve, and we should fight for what we think we deserve. He's saying it for both sexes, for both genders. You, sir, are... I can't even right now. I literally can't even. He mentions that Djokovic is a gracious champion. I originally heard about Djokovic because I worked in a store with someone from Serbia, and Djokovic is from Serbia. And in this company I worked for, he was so excited when Serbia won against the Germans in the World Cup. But he looked so much up to Djokovic, and he's like, Djokovic is the man. He is why we are proud people. He epitomizes everything that is Serbia. He is strong, he is kind, he's whatever, all the stuff that he said. And he said that Djokovic inspires people to do better, to fight for what they believe in and that kind of thing. And that's awesome. And he shouldn't be ripped on because he states something as fact and he opens it up to all people. So then Bill writes, males, white males especially, got a pretty significant head start in most matters of sport. No. And I'll tell you why not. If you look at, I don't know, most of the NBA championships and a lot of other sports, I'm pretty sure that you're not going to have a whole lot of white guys. I don't know. I may be wrong. But in general, sports is one of the last few bastions of something to where if you work hard and you're better than the other person, it doesn't matter about your race. People like you, Bill, are what's ruining that. You're trying to inject race into it by talking about white males got a pretty significant head start. No, white males don't have a pretty significant head start. Because if we're playing football and we have a team and someone who's not a white male can run a lot faster than someone who is a white male, and they can outperform what's needed for that position, then guess what's going to happen? That white male isn't going to have the position. If that white male is kept over the other person, then guess what's going to happen? They're not going to win, and the person making that decision will be kicked out. But whether you're equal or not, Bill writes, and sometimes men need a better sense of when to shut the hell up. Really now. Really. I can't accurately describe the feelings that I have over this. The article is so short-sighted, it doesn't make any... It doesn't even... So, I went ahead and tweeted, hey, just saw your sexist post about tennis. What... That's Djokovic's tag, said was perfectly fine. Women are capable of fighting for their worth. He replies, checks, get called an anti-male sexist off the bucket list. You'll notice in my original reply, I didn't call him anything. I just said that he had a sexist post about tennis. And I called it sexist because he presupposes that Djokovic's comments hurt women. In doing research for this, I learned that SB Nation is owned by Vox Media. Vox Media, which you've probably never heard of, you might have, owns The Verge and Polygon. Polygon, if you're familiar with Gamergate, basically turned its back on its gamers' readers and went full-fledged feminist. And by feminist, I mean third-wave modern Western feminism that pretty much just complains about first-world problems and doesn't like men. Let me give you some advice, Bill. You don't have to attack men just because you want to further some sort of misguided notion that women are fragile creatures that can't work and do things for themselves. The reality is that mindset is significantly worse for women than one of saying, you know what, you guys can work for what you think you're worth, and you guys should fight for what you think you're worth. Because Djokovic shouldn't say, this is what I think women are worth. Women should be able to decide for themselves what women are worth. It's that agency that is so important and that feminism takes away by saying our goal is to ensure that women are paid equal to men. That takes away the negotiating and the negotiation part for things for women. Women should be able to negotiate for themselves. Women should be able to say, you know what? I actually work harder than this guy. I want to get paid more than men. Women are not fragile creatures that can't withstand criticism, that can't withstand opposing beliefs. Women are strong and capable. They are different than men, and therefore they may respond or react to things differently than men. However, protecting them in a hug box and arguing basically that they can't deal with anything other than that and they can't do stuff without man's help is extremely sexist. I know, as one of your followers and fellow SP Sports guys said, that I only had 9 followers on Twitter, but you would do well to follow my advice, because when it comes down to it, sports, like games, aren't something that we want to deal with having your progressive, quote unquote, but are actually regressive, views put on. People watch sports because they want to watch sports, because they want to see the competition, because they want to see what happens in it. They don't watch sports to be lectured, to be told that they're terrible people for something that they can't control, i.e. being a white male. And they don't want to watch sports, and they don't want to read about sports to hear you lecture them that they're bad people. You're going to lose a lot of readers in the same way that you guys, Vox Media, lost a lot of readers when you attacked gamers. So, I'm just going to throw that out there. You can do what you want with it. I hope that you are willing to take my advice. And, I don't know. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know we don't have a huge viewership, but I appreciate those of y'all who have watched videos, those of y'all who have commented, and I look forward to being able to engage with you guys in the comments. What do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm off? Do you support Bill's view, good old Billy? Or do you think that he's off? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and just remember that you can contact me on Twitter and through here. And I don't know. Normally people would be talking about their Patreon, but I don't have a Patreon. So, yeah, I think I'm done here. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye. Oh, I do want to thank Not Entirely Unlike Chiptune for the awesome music. I think the bumper music is great, and give them a shot. Check out their link in the SoundCloud. I think totally they are spot on. Have a great day.